Hello, this video is designed to show you how to turn your rough draft into a final draft. This is for viewing after you finish your essay to help you figure out what do you need to do before you turn it in and say, this is my final draft. So I've been asking you to use the rough draft document called What is a Hero? So hopefully you've been doing that. And you notice the header. Now, your version said your name, like literally your name. So then you need to type your actual name on top of it. So I typed my name on top of it. But check yours. If it says your name, okay, click your actual name because, you know. All right. So as you are reading over any comments I may have made, I just want to show you something kind of cool. In the comments, okay, if you see something that says like format, italic, delete, some of them say add. Like if it's something that's an editing step, and you see that I've made an edit, to accept that edit and be like, yeah, I want that. So if I'm like, italicize this, and you're like, yeah, I want that italicized, you just click the check mark and it will do it for you. So if I sit here and click these check marks, okay, so for you, you might just want to go through and click check marks for these types of comments, and then those edits will be made. Now, if there's a comment that's like a content comment that's like, maybe you should think about doing this or add this, if you click the check mark, it just goes away. So it's kind of confusing. But please take the time to look at the comments I've made because I did that to help you. And so take the time to go and read through them. All right, so once you are done with your essay, and you're ready to turn your rough draft into a final draft, you want to erase all of the headings. That's what I was just doing. So you don't need it to say introduction, argument, counter-argument. You can erase all of that, okay? A final essay doesn't need that. So you're gonna erase it and just have your paragraphs. Your paragraphs can go right up to each other. They don't need a bunch of spaces in between them. There is something we need to do with spacing, which is once you've erased all of your headers and things like that, I suggest going to edit, select all. That will highlight all of your text. So edit, select all, it highlights all of your text. And then go to format, line spacing, okay? An essay should be double spaced. Why, you might ask? Well, honestly, at this point, it's kind of an archaic thing from when we used to print out essays, but that's still the standard. So until someone says, we probably don't need to be double spacing things anymore, we just are going to keep doing it. So click double. And then now your whole essay should look like this. Now there's still some editing problems I can see, and I'll show you in a minute, but you should have it double spaced. So once again, I went to edit, select all, and then I went to format, line spacing, double to make it double spaced. Now, while I have my text all selected, select all. You want it all to be the same font and the same size, okay? Traditionally, people are told to choose Times New Roman or Arial. That's the tradition. If you pick something like, I like this Arvo font and it's easily readable, that's not really a big deal. But you don't want to choose something like this one, right? Because no one wants to read a whole ton like this. This is more for design. This is more pretty, okay? You want to pick a really readable font. So Times New Roman, Arial, something that's real basic and readable. So pick that font. Just pick whatever font. Your whole essay should be in the same font. But then if you look through mine, you can tell, oh, wow, it's different sizes, okay? So once you make sure it's all the same font, make sure it's all the same size, it should be 10 or 12, okay? I tend to like to make things 10 just because 12 seems too big, but 10 or 12. If you turn in an essay, okay, so this is a 10-point font essay, looks normal. Let's say you're like, oh, I want this to look longer, so I'm going to make it 16. Like, it is evident to anyone who looks at your essay that your font's crazy. Plus, I can see what size your font is. So, trying to make things bigger isn't going to trick me or anyone who's reading it on a computer, so don't be silly. Make it a 10 or 12-point font. Okay, so once it is double spaced, it has your name. It's 10 or 12 point font. It's all the same font. Okay, just kind of skim through it, make sure it looks okay. If there are parts that are in a different color, make sure everything's black. Make sure it looks good. And then this is a step I highly suggest before you turn it in, and that is to use this website, Free Paper Grader. So you can find that by going to classwork. I posted it in a couple of places. I posted it under the right stuff. There's a link, paper checker, right here. I also posted a link to it on your essay to-do list. So if you open that, you'll also see a link to it here where it says, when you're done, it says, go to this website. It's the only hyperlink. Okay, so open this website. And I'm just going to quickly show you how to use it because it can be a little tricky because it's a free website, so it's filled with ads. And so you don't want to click on the ads because that will be confusing. All right, so I'm going to go to my essay, and I don't need the header or anything like that, so I'm just going to select everything that's not the header. I'm going to copy it because you're going to paste your work into this website. All right, so when you go to this link, Free Paper Grader, Paper Checker, it has all those names. It will say, get started below. Then there will be an ad for Grammarly, and it's going to confuse you. You're going to want to open it. Do not. Analyze your paper. Okay, it says upload file or paste your text. I always just paste my text, like just paste your text. Okay, so paste your text. Select your education level. Y'all are in 9th grade, so select 9th grade. Select the type of paper, essay. I've played around with this. It doesn't really matter, so just pick essay. Plagiarism detection. If you're really trying to see if you did a good job covering up plagiarism, I mean, you can use it, but you shouldn't be plagiarizing. And if you do, I'll send it back to you and say, hey, rewrite this in your own words. So that shouldn't be an issue. Now you have to click this box. This is some kind of crazy ad. Ignore all that. Click get report. Okay, everything else is going to be crazy. Just click get report. Basically, anything you should click should have that like blue little arrow on it. Everything else is an ad. I don't know. Get report. Okay, and it takes a minute to process it, but there's some really cool stuff that it shows you. So we'll just wait a second while it prepares results. But it will tell you, like, is your vocabulary good? Are you using transition words? It will tell you if you are using words too often. All right, so here is my essay. And it says analysis complete. Now, I do kind of suggest you don't make edits in here because if you edit things here, you're turning it into me over here. So I wouldn't really make edits here. You'll have to copy and paste this back into your rough draft, if that makes sense. All right, but it'll give me suggestions. Okay, so for spelling. Okay, there was one error, I think. So let me scroll to where that is. I don't see it, but apparently it's in there somewhere. I don't know. Okay, so then green, these are telling me, like, okay, so it thinks I should be changing it to this. I like the way I have it, so I'm going to ignore those, but, look over them, make sure it's a computer so it doesn't understand all the nuances of language, but maybe it catches a mistake you made. All right, then it has word choice, okay? So it tells me that my word choice is pretty good, that I'm not using a lot of just inappropriate words like slang. So if you use slang words like haters or something, it might show up in here. Okay, it tells me 79%. All right. Transitional phrases. All right, I did a good job with transitional phrases, but it tells me other words that I could use. Or if you don't do a good job with transitions, it'll be like, hey, yeah, you should add some transitions. And it gives you words to add and tells you where to add them. Sentence length. Okay, sure. This one you have to pay for it, not a big deal. You don't dare pay for it. It doesn't matter. Passive voice, you can skip that. That's not that big a deal. I mean, if you want to look over it and change some of your sentences, but that's not really a big deal. We can ignore. All right, simple sentences. Okay, my sentence starts not bad, but could be better. And it gives me some suggestions. So like, here are some of the ways I started my sentences, and I could do a better job. So I could look over here at these and then go back and edit. So these are just suggestions to make my writing better. Okay, my vocabulary is pretty good. Okay. All right, and so then it gave me a grade. It said I would get a 97. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that I'm gonna read it and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, 97. Or I'm not gonna use this website to give you grades, but it does give you a good idea. Like if it's saying you're gonna get a 70, whoa, go back and check like what's going on. Are your sentences incorrect? Do you have lots of spelling errors? Is your vocabulary too low? You know, it really does give you good suggestions on how to improve your writing, especially because sometimes you just read over your own writing, you're like, yeah, it looks good. This will show you specific areas you can improve. So I highly suggest that you use it. Just be careful if you edit things here. So like if I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I meant this, how's refused. That didn't change, and that's not what I meant. That didn't change this document. So any edits you make, you should make over here. Okay. So yeah, that is a really great way to get started on editing. You know, make sure, see like here, I didn't use a transition word. Should have done that. You can kind of read through and be like, ooh, obstacles. I've used this word a lot. Let me define it. And let me use impediment. Oh, that sounds fancy. You know, go through and use the dictionary and thesaurus to improve some words. Keep this works cited here. This is just showing these are, you know, we read the graphic novel. This is the one we read. And this is the version of the Odyssey we read. And yeah, so once you are done with all that, it's edited, then you're going to hit turn in. Now, if your essay is complete and it's turned in, I will assume it's the final draft. If you want to be completely clear, you can add a private comment. This is the final draft. If you wanted to, if this makes you feel better, you can put what is here, final draft. Like you could do that. But essentially, once you've turned it in and I go and check it, if it's a complete essay, I'm going to assume it's your final draft. So you want to make sure you've edited it and formatted it correctly. All right, I hope this video was helpful, and I'm excited to read your essays. I know they're going to be awesome because you've worked really hard, and I'm just really excited to read them. Bye, guys.